get sat down and get the tea ready because everything, and I mean everything, has kicked off. I honestly thought we were past this. I honestly did. Laura, Anything for Views Lee, has kicked off. She has had a public meltdown all over Instagram. It was like diarrhea. Basically, Laura Anything for Views Lee is a YouTuber, I believe with around 2.8 million subscribers now, but ignoring the past, ignoring the history, just looking at today's scandal. She released an eyeshadow palette, which some would call offensive and some would call beyond offensive. People were not happy. The internet kicked off. Now, there's this whole little circle on YouTube. There's Manny, there's Laura, and they kind of stay in their own little group. And I think within that group, they have their own followings, and so their own followings are very sweet to each other. But outside of that small niche, people really hate these people, whether it be for racism, whether it be for general bullying, calling people ugly on Snapchat, etc. There's a long history, and whenever their face is sort of used outside of their platform and outside of their area on YouTube, within their channels, it generally gets a very negative response. I know that Manny did a campaign, something short with Sephora very recently, and Sephora had to delete it from their YouTube, or was it Instagram? I think it was YouTube. They had to delete it within like a day or something because the feedback was so crazy. There was something similar with, I think it was Laura and Manny on a drag, and it was posted on a drag channel, and it had the most negative response because people outside of their small community really do tend to hate them. I don't know why, I don't know the full tea, I'm not one of those people, I don't hate any of these people whatsoever. Let's get straight into this scandal. So, Laura's eyeshadow palette, it's called Cats in Pyjamas. I believe she didn't misspell, she used the wrong punctuation on the banner of a YouTube channel, but fortunately it was spelled correctly on the actual palette itself, which is quite good, thank you. The apostrophe on the pajamas. Basically, it's these 10 shades, okay? Let me show you the picture. Why don't we do a first impressions, okay? We have these 10 shades. We have a creamy shade, which did not swatch well. I think chalk could have swatched better, sorry to be honest. We have a light nudie shimmer shade, which are easy to formulate. We have a nude brown shade, which looks fine. We have more of a terracotta shade. I guess that must be shimmer because that's where the shimmer is on her arm. There's a lot of shimmers in this palette. I think that's kind of a cop-out because shimmers are easier to formulate. We then have this purpley shade, a brown shade. I don't know if it's supposed to be black or green, but it looks like it's struggling. And then there's this pinky shade. Overall, it's not a terrible swatch. It's not as bad as the Urban Decay Naked Heat palettes. When they released that, they had these swatches on people's arms and they were so bad. But it does look like she's pressing quite hard to get these to perform, and the white especially, you can see she's really pressing and really nothing comes off her finger, which is like, Urgh. The issue that people had, and we're going to go through the comments because that is where the scandal kicked off and that is where Laura had her meltdown, okay? People were unhappy because basically the shades have already been done a lot and she's charging a very premium price considering she's a brand that has no prior experience and the palette seems far from luxury. I'll give you my thoughts towards the end on the whole situation, but to give you a very brief compact thing, there didn't seem to be any flow with the palette. There's glitter on the front, there's some roses inside. The palette is called Cats in Pyjamas, but then the names have nothing, sort of no correlation with that. It overall feels very childish, which I guess would be fine, setting aside the fact that the outside of the palette, the exterior, really has no tie to the interior. But she's charging a very premium price. $40 for an eyeshadow palette is Anastasia territory. It's Tarte territory. You know, it's really, anyone can charge $40 for a palette. But if people are going to buy it for that price, when you don't have any prior reputation in the industry and you are, to be blunt, just an influencer, not even sort of a renowned makeup artist, you are just someone that is known for opening makeup packages on Snapchat and doing makeup on yourself in videos. There are some very, very talented people on Instagram and on YouTube that do amazing, amazing, talented makeup artistry. And if one of those people was to come up with a makeup line, as they do, you would be very sort of like, ooh, you know, you'd be very interested. But I think the backlash that I've seen a lot on this Instagram post is people basically saying this is Laura. Like, she's not known for being particularly good at makeup. I don't know how to say this without sounding mean. Like, you know, with the Katy Perry thing, when she did the video with Katy Perry, she was there on Katy's live stream and she had to do a makeup for it. And every time she would do something, Katy's makeup artist would have to go in and fix it, whether it was like a contour or eyeshadow or anything. So it was... This is the Instagram post. Let's go through the first set of comments that led to Laura Lee's massive breakdown and her attacking someone. The price, I'd pay $24 for this, definitely not $40. The colour payoff and colour selection isn't screaming high-end to me. That dark colour with a sick face. The black can need some work too. But do you, girl? Do you? With so many options out there, it looks like nothing special to me. I thought she would have entered the makeup market with more of a bang. I'm not interested. But this is something that gets me a little bit. I never really saw Laura Lee as being someone that's quite creative. I kind of think that just because you're in a position of power with an influence doesn't necessarily mean, I don't think that's a substitute for years of work in artistry and composition and thought process and projects. Do you understand what I mean? Like, there's people in the makeup industry that have literally studied either fine artistry or makeup artistry for 10, 15 years, and that's how they have such a good background with composition. You don't need to study formally, but what I'm saying is that it's one thing to draw a picture or to do a smoky eye, but it's another thing to develop a project and to develop a concept for 6 months from start to finish, which is, if there was someone that had experience in the situation doing it, I think they would have had a better idea of how the palette wasn't pulling together and how the colour selection perhaps wouldn't have really screamed by me to a lot of people. I do kind of feel like just because she earns a lot of money from Morphe, we allegedly heard from a Morphe employee $75,000 a month just from Morphe, and around $60,000 apparently, allegedly, her management was cold calling companies, basically saying, you can pay us £60,000, it's a limited edition offer, and we'll feature your thing on Laura Lee's video, or we have a rate sheet for favourites videos. That was brought to me by a company that was contacted and felt like they were being pushed quite heavily. Just some tea. I do kind of feel like she's kind of taken that income and she kind of maybe believes that she can substitute talent for money. So yes, she can afford to produce this palette and she can afford the packaging, she can afford to push it out there, and obviously she's made friends with the devil, she can promote it through these various channels, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she has any idea what she's actually doing, and I think that's why the palette has turned out so terrible, just to be blunt with you. The swatches really came across as horrible, the price is really ridiculous for what she's offering. The actual design, half the front of the palette with the mirror is just roses, and the front has nothing to do with roses, it's glitter, cat's pajamas, and then same with the names on the palette, there was just no adhesion. The whole palette, I just feel like it needed more glue. It just needed sticking together more. Next page, this gets you with every post, 44 likes. Literally so basic and expensive, kind of reminds me of what Laura's vibe is. Laura always calls herself the drugstore queen, and this is one thing people were confused about. She's like, I'm a drugstore queen, but then she releases a palette for £40. Like, and that's what confused me a bit, and that's what I saw in the comments. A lot of people saying like, Laura always says she's like a drugstore queen, and people respect her for that, and that's her thing. So who does she think she is, like bringing out high-end, not high-end obviously, because it's not like $6, but it's 40. People are calling it high-end makeup for a palette. It's nothing special, and the packaging reminds me of another brand to me. It should have been cats in pajamas in the inside. Why flowers? I'm with ya. It's the same thing. I'll keep my comments to myself. 24 likes. Sorry, this is so shady. That's why I wanted to show you. I'm not gonna lie. I was sat living for these comments. I was reading them and I was like, I was just scrolling through. I don't hate Laura. I know she comes for me all the time, says horrible comments about me. I honestly don't care for her, but I don't dislike her. I don't hate her. I have nothing against her. But the feedback, because her audience is so almost like controlled with their opinions. And if they ever say something that she disagrees with, she'll publicly attack them, whether it's on Snapchat.
Me and Manny went to the Morphe store with the intent to buy all the up ourselves. And I'm not, girl, I got shit to do. I ain't trying to convince you otherwise.
Oh my god, Laura Lee has lost it again.
Me and Manny went to the Morphe store with the intent to buy all the fucking makeup ourselves. Appreciate when drama channels talk about me and at least put me in the thumbnail. That way I get like good PR on it.
She's unstoppable.
Because I was having fun and being goofy with my friend saying, oh, we went in. Because we did go in. We got the whole damn store in our freaking bags, giving half of them back and half the shit back to you guys who are, oh, the Morphe scandal. If you don't support me, you think I'm a big fat liar and you tell me that you're unsubscribing, I'll probably block you anyways. The stuff we got at Morphe was free. Free! 99! Use my code.
Or whether it's in comments, or whether she's threatening to block people. And so to see an unrelated group of people that aren't being like verbally pressured to be sweet or risk getting blocked, give their opinions, kind of gave me life a little bit. That picture looks like they're pressing hard. That black shadow, no honey. Lol, how incredibly average. Yes, it's a hard pass, LMAO. Nothing special and certainly not worth $40. Meh, next. Gonna have to pass for $40. The thing is, there's already palettes out there like this. There's a Colourpop collaboration palette, and there's also by Zoeva, I think it's called the She palette or something like that. And you all sent me pictures on Instagram DM, and I saw it, and it does look incredibly similar. I don't think it was copied. I don't think the colours are copied. It's just a generic set of neutral colours. That's sort of the issue that people are having. But the issue is that these other brands like Colourpop and Zoeva are charging $16, and they have a brand history where at least you know what the quality is, whether you know it's going to be amazing or middle or low, you know what the quality is. Whereas with Laura Lee Los Angeles, you don't know really what you're getting. So to charge so much instantly, people are like, we can buy something for less than half the price. I don't know what we're going to get. That person needs a mani. Going to have to pass for $40. So incredibly average. Morphe looks better. A glitter cover, floral inside, and fall coloured shadows, and it's called Cat Pyjamas. This palette is all over the place and definitely not worth the money. Looks cheaper than Colourpop. Do better. I understand. That's the kind of thing that I saw going through the comments. No thanks. Someone please stop this girl. The colours aren't that great. $40, who does she think she is? This is one thing that people sort of mentioned, okay, because she was saying it's only $4 a shadow, it's only $4 a shadow. Listen, okay, when you buy a single shadow, you're not just buying a single shadow, okay? You're paying for that single shadow to be manufactured and to be individually packaged. It has an individual SKU when it goes to a warehouse. It has to be shipped as an individual. It has to be manually handled as an individual unit. And there are costs associated with every individual unit. When you produce a palette with 35 colours, for example, like Morphe, when you do that, you save a lot of costs. That's why you can buy a 35 palette for $5. You know? So for her to sit there and say, well, there's 40 for 4 each, that's expensive for the actual palette that she's delivering. If this was something really sort of amazingly high quality, like not a subculture, if it was like a modern Renaissance palette, you would kind of understand, okay? Because each shade from that palette, not the subculture, because subculture, they messed around with the formula, but the original modern Renaissance palette, I'm pretty sure every shade was nearly individually formulated depending on the colour, which is how they turn out so good. If you were doing that and you were going to that level of detail, $40 is completely acceptable for a palette. That's not, you know, as far as I'm aware, this is Laura Lee working with, whether it's a company or whether it's just the factory, running a makeup line is a lot more than designs. There's actually a shitload of finance that goes behind it as well. It's numbers. It's not just numbers like making money, but it's books. It's like, how much are we spending on this? What do we do tax on that? Like it's all over the place. So yeah, when you say, well, it's only $4 each, well, yes, but like you're packaging them all together. You can buy a palette that's nearly identical for like $5, $10, $15. That white is sad. That's what someone said. Someone said 40 is redonkulous for this small version SD Eon of Colourpop palette. Ugly AF. Too much money for 10 shades. Besides, there's no new colours. I have the same colours in other palettes. $40 for this, ridiculous. This is so shady. I don't know why I'm living for it. I would never live for this like anyone else, because the thing is that I do feel sympathetic because it's Laura. Not because it's Laura, the opposite because it's Laura. I do feel sympathetic because I know how hard it is to come up with something with your name on it. I don't think that she's doing the same thing that I'm doing. I do think she's probably worked with a company and she's basically given design input, and that's how things have come together. I don't think she's physically sat there emailing the factory saying, you know, I need to change this from PMMA to PETG, please. I'd like to change this from 3,000 to 5,000 units. What's the minimum order quantity on your pans? Can I magnetize them? What's the glue that you're using? Can I use it for this? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't think she's that involved personally, but maybe she is. She just comes across as not the type of person, like the kind of person to me that makes a palette called Cats in Pyjamas isn't doing all the CFO work. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm sorry if this comes across as shady. It's just like, SMH, reminds me of Colourpop. I don't see how this could be $40. This just makes me mad because she claims to be the drugstore queen. This looks drugstore quality, but high-end price. Seems to me like we're paying for her name. I agree, and it's difficult to pay for a name when the name has no reputation in the makeup manufacturing industry. It wasn't long ago she was already doing a palette with someone, so she said she's been working on this palette for 2 years. Who does this remind you of? 2 years I was working on this palette! 2 years! Who does it remind you of? Bitch. But she did a collaboration like 6 months ago with another set of colours, so it's like, how many contracts are you just signing to make money? It doesn't sound like it's like a creative image. It doesn't sound like she's an artist that wants to create something and put it out in the world and launch it to her audience to experience and all that. It just seems like, okay, well, here's the first palette and here's the second palette and here's the third palette. I honestly thought we were past this. I honestly did. Ugly AF. Oh my god, okay, that's rude. Ugly AF, just like her. Don't agree with that. That's mean. She's trying so hard but not good enough. You'll have to pay me $40 to buy it. Everything about her is so underwhelming. She's definitely not something that's going to last long, personality and looks-wise. No quality whatsoever. I do think that's in relation to the palette, not in relation to Laura. Someone commented, I haven't seen your products around. Could you link me to your success? You don't need to be a makeup manufacturer or a brand owner or a CEO to have an opinion as a consumer on products. I don't understand that. I don't agree with nasty comments, and I don't think that's okay. For my makeup, I have a specific email address set up where I'm going to welcome everyone to give me as much feedback as they can, because I really want to grow, and all of that based on what you think of it. That's really important to me. It's not just like, well, here's the... It's really like, I want to do my image, and I think it's quite a strong image, but I really want to hear what you think and things that you aren't so happy with. If there are things, I want you to always know that you have a platform to come and express that to me, and you can come and speak to me directly, and you can tell me, and it'll come straight to me, and I can see what you're saying. You can send me photos, and that's it. I just want you to know that. Like, that's important. So yeah, I think as a consumer, I do think that you have the right to have an opinion. I don't think it's fair to say, like, you're the one that's buying the makeup. How could you not be entitled to have an opinion on it, obviously? And that's something that I think is very important. I just want to put that out there. Sorry, I'm trying to be PG family friendly. For $40, that better apply itself and pay my rent. It's cute, but shouldn't be more than $22. I agree. She's probably going to do a 50% sale or something, but then she's getting all of her little mandem to promote it. And you have a lot of young followers, so maybe. I just think there's much more exciting makeup out there. You can get a palette with all these colours and more for the same price. Even Huda's palette. Huda's new palette is what, $56, which is expensive. But for that extra $16, you've got like this pressed glitter, you've got these other shimmers, you've got these purples. It's not just like, here's another neutral. I can tell you, Cookie fam, don't be expecting neutrals from me first time round. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so someone commented, people are so negative. That's a successful woman right there who has put her heart and soul into creating something and built a career for herself. Stop spreading so much hate. I saw comments like this, and I saw them get an immediate sort of comeback with people saying, we're allowed to have opinions as consumers. We're not going to lick ours. It's kind of this mentality within their club where if you're not exceedingly positive towards them and licking their ass on every single thing they do, it's like you're kicked out, you're blocked.
You don't support me, you think I'm a big fat liar, and you tell me that you're unsubscribing. I'll probably block you anyways.
Attacked, whether it's a Snapchat rant, whether it's comments, whether it's tweets. It's very sort of like snip, snip if you're not literally praising the ground I work on. Work on, walk on. And I saw people reply to these sorts of comments just saying, the palette doesn't look good and we're allowed to not like it. So I get that. Looks like a small ugly version of the She palette. The She palette, I think, was by Zoeva. Laura Lee, don't even waste your time commenting, girl. Doesn't matter who likes it, who doesn't, just do you. That's fair enough, I guess. But maybe she's not trying to be an actual, you know, like a public makeup brand. And that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, every collaboration that she's done has really been to her audience. It's not like it's like to the public launching. So I don't know, I guess it kind of makes sense. Laura coming here and being passive and unimpressed about opinions on her palette. Let it go, girl. Try again. Okay, so Laura Lee commented, sad for all the negative, hateful people that stay on this page. I pity y'all. Better days are coming. I love you all and wish the best for all of y'all. I don't understand why she's backwards and forwards. Make your mind up. She's trying to be passive aggressive and nasty, and then she's wishing you the best. It's like, you're not being the bigger person, hon. You're attacking people that have an opinion. I think there's a few people that have mean opinions, but the majority was just people giving feedback, just saying we're not too happy, we're not that impressed, we're not going to buy it. To give you some tea, Laura Lee blocked me on Twitter and she blocked me on Instagram. I don't even follow it on either of those things. I don't think I've ever followed it. I don't pay any attention to it. I don't know who she thinks she is. I don't even have her on Snapchat. I don't follow anything that she does. I don't watch any of her videos. But she's the one that's always talking about me, and she's the one that was like, she knew I would pick up on this before I even knew I would pick up on this, and I just find that weird. So there was a girl that goes by the name of Chance's Princess, and Chance's Princess was attacked on her own page by Laura Lee. Laura Lee just lost her SHIT, as we've seen her do in the past. It doesn't seem like she wants to create things and work with the public to create things that people like. It seems like, this is my opinion, this is my language. If you don't like it, you can GTFO, and if you don't like it, I'm going to come for you. That's how it comes across. She commented on this poor girl's picture, pretty girl, I hate that you cyberbully people though, it's sad. So now Laura is accusing Chance's Princess of cyberbullying people. There's people that are actually cyberbullied. There's actual cyberbullies on the internet that are horrible and chase people and are horrible people. And so I think just for Laura Lee to water that down against someone that just had an opinion on a makeup palette. Well, people kill themselves over cyberbullying. Do you know what I mean? There's people out there that don't have support, and to act like someone having an opinion on a palette is cyberbullying. Nice try, no thank you. What do you think? Will you be purchasing this palette? Please let me know. Yeah, so this is the spelling. Again, you can see, so she put an apostrophe at the end of Pyjamas. You know, I don't know. Did she organise this photo shoot? Did she organise the graphic design? Obviously she wrote the thing herself, because otherwise it's a bit strange for it to be misspelled, but it just makes me wonder. We know that her and Manny have been teaming up with Jeffree on their merch, so 110% of me thinks, unless she's done this through a company, I think that she will be using Jeffree for this. I think she'll be using his warehouse, and I also think that Kylie Cosmetics is now shipping their packages through Jeffree's warehouse. because we've seen packages arrive with ants, which is the exact same thing that we saw previously with Jeffree packages. To me, it just seems like the cheapest possible warehousing with no sort of hygiene control, which is obviously very scary when it comes to cosmetics. Me personally, the warehouses that I don't work with warehouses that handle below pharmaceuticals, and every warehouse I work with has to be temperature controlled. That's for me personally. Ants aren't a possibility for me, and that's why it kind of, that's what I think has happened. I think that she's potentially made this with Jeffree's contact in the lab that Kat Von D set him up with a long time ago. I think the creative side, I don't know what she's done with this. Because I do feel like if a company had made this for her, I think it would have had a lot more adhesion and it would have made more sense. So I do think she has had a strong creative input with this palette, definitely, just because it isn't very good in that respect. Oh my god, apparently Peppa Pig soundtrack. You sent me the funniest stuff. That is it for today's scandal. What do you think about this situation? Everything kicked off, honestly. I was watching this post and it's being sent to me and I was like, whoo! If this was someone that was sweet in the beauty industry, like obviously we had the whole drama with Kathleen Lights, but Kathleen Lights generally seems like quite a sweet person, okay? If it was her palette and people weren't that impressed, I don't think they would have been like this. You know, people I think would have been a little bit more accommodating just because she seems like a sweet person and she doesn't seem like malicious. But I do think because it's Laura and she just come across as very obnoxious and very unfriendly, and she has been seen attacking people on videos. We covered the Morphe scandal where it seemed like she was lying to her entire audience about Morphe, claiming that she was buying everything and going in when she got everything for free, and then we exposed her, and then she went on a rant and attacked her followers saying she was going to block them, Godzilla, King Kong. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think people are aware of that. People know that she doesn't have the best spirit, and I think that's why people have been a bit colder. I really want to know what you think about the situation. What do you think Laura Lee should be bringing out her own palettes, or do you think she should stick to collaborations? Maybe that's a good question, because she's collabing every 5 minutes, whether it's with Smashbox on videos or whether it's with Violet Voss on a palette. She's done 101 different collaborations and she sponsors, as far as I'm aware, whenever she can. You know, it's a very lucrative business that she's in. I don't see her in the industry as like Laura the homegirl that you go to for advice, like Jackie Aina you kind of go to, even though she just takes sponsorships. That's not an issue because you always kind of feel like she's just giving you her opinion, and you know that she would never take a sponsorship if she really didn't love the product because it's her neck on the line. Whereas that level of accountability and credibility I personally don't see with Laura Lee. I really think that she just sort of has a young audience, doesn't really care. I want to say a massive thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the drama today. I'm sending all my prayers to the deceased Laura Lee palette. I really hope it's resting up there in heaven and it's okay. The internet is savage, you know, and if you try and pull a fast one and charge that kind of price for something so basic, I think people are going to kick off. Everything kicks off. So I really hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you in the next one. Have a beautiful day and I'll see you very soon. Bye.